Some of you may be shocked. Some of you may be paying attention to what the hell I've been saying since, what, last season ended? This shouldn't come as a surprise. Hey, we're going to talk about this terrible football team. Before we do, though, if you are new to the channel, hello, welcome on in to a program that's going to be filled with happiness. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate it. You can take me on the road with you. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, search Sports Talk with Broads and leave a 5-star rating and a review. That will help out the algorithm so much. You're the best. And lastly, if you're looking for more Broads Media content, you can join the memberships here on YouTube for $4.99 a month, and you will get 2 live streams a week. Coffee with Broads, where we kick back and have our coffee together, and we talk about all the bizarre nonsense that's going around in the sports world. You can check out the information all down below in the description. You also get access to our Discord channel, so you do not want to miss it. All right, I'll shut up, and I'll let you know how I really feel about this team. Appreciate it, and enjoy the show. Ask me if I'm surprised. Go ahead. Ask me if I'm surprised. Because I'm not. What in the world just happened in Tampa Bay? Let's start off very simple. We don't need to overanalyze anything today. Let's start with when the Eagles showed up to the stadium and when they took the field for the first quarter of this football game. Did they look prepared to you? Did they look like a well-coached football team ready to go to war and have a response when they were playing down a few of their top men? That was arguably one of the most pathetic and embarrassing efforts I've seen in a while, and this team has consistently put out vomit on the field for the last 13 games heading back to last season. And somehow this may be at the top of the list. We are not going to make any excuses. I don't want to hear it that Lane Johnson wasn't available, and thankfully he wasn't available, because I don't know why it was even a discussion that he potentially could have played. He was vomiting on the sidelines last week with the major concussion. We got a bye week up next. I'll live with Fred Johnson and getting sacked 8,000 times when it comes to Lane Johnson's health. But AJ, Devontae, I get it. They were down special players. You got annihilated. You're down 24-0. Should have been 28-0. They dropped a pass in the back of the end zone, bobbled a few times, had to settle for a field goal. You're getting torched with quick throws. You can't tackle. Where's the will? Does this look like a team that's inspired by their coach? You could play undermanned, play hard, still lose, and me not be aggravated with your approach. Believe it or not, I promise you that's a thing, right? I like to use Mike Tomlin as an example a lot of the times. There's times over the Mike Tomlin era in Pittsburgh where maybe they lacked in certain areas, but you know you are getting the maximum out of every guy on that field, at least 90% of them. They don't look like they want to play. They don't look like they want to even attack for one another. C.J. Gardner-Johnson talking that talk, yet making business decisions out on the field. Nakobe Dean, unacceptable tackling. Bryce Huff, once again, barely showing up on the stat sheet. Nolan Smith stinks. And I don't know why Vic Fangio has him in coverage on Godwin. How did you think that was going to play out prior to seeing the snap? Come on, Vic! And think about this. Avonte Maddox is still on the field over Cooper DeJean, then Cooper DeJean is not good enough. Or they're just making a piss-poor decision by not letting him play. But if you can't beat out Avonte Maddox, then you're not very talented. Now I'm hearing that Avonte Maddox was cramping up. Well, what did you do to prepare? You knew it was going to be hot. You can tell what the weather is. Carter's got to leave. Juergens got to leave. This guy's dehydrated. That guy's dehydrated. From a lack of scheme, a lack of will, a lack of mentality. Run down the list. They clearly did not put themselves in the right positions in every aspect of football. I didn't even get to special teams yet. Spare me the block on the extra point. Their special teams was disgusting. Poor Cooper DeJean. He's getting popped by Ringo and Isaiah Rodgers. I could have swore my man put in a money line bet on Tampa Bay, because why else would you shove somebody into your own returner, which would then force a turnover? He's another one that's posted on social media about controlling what you can control, not happy about playing time. When you publish something online, you're doing it because you want to set eyeballs on it. You're not doing, even if it's descriptive, you're not doing it for anything other than you want others to know that you're not satisfied. Yet you get a shot and you're playing dumb. Okay, whoop-de-doo, you blocked an extra point. Doesn't make up for the dumbest of dumb I've ever seen. Shoving someone into your own returner. Let's get to Jaylen. I'm just doing the same thing that I do every week because this is all similar talking points. Jaylen Hurts is turning the football over way too much. No presence in the pocket. You just escaped a pass rusher. Where do you think that pass rusher goes when you slide by them? Do they go poof and they go gone and you don't see him ever again? Or is he a half a second right behind you to smack the fucking football out of your hands? He should have been picked off. Should have had 2 fumbles. This happened in the red zone, where I actually thought the Eagles were going to do what the Eagles do. Remember, it was a 2-possession game at the time of that block extra point where they scored and got a couple of points off it, right? Eagles were driving the football. You get into the red zone, and you think, here we go. They're going to do it. They're going to do the game. And this is what I predicted on WIP Saturday night. When I was ending my show at 11 p.m., I gave you my prediction, and I said the Eagles are going to do what they do. They're going to make you want to carve your eyeballs out of your own sockets with a steak knife, slowly, and somehow win where it makes no sense. And for all of us that despise Nick and his antics and despise the way it looks, we'll have to swallow it again and deal with all the nonsense of what an encouraging win. It was so great to see them battle when they were down premier talent. What a savvy way to go down 24-0 and not give up. Talk about a determined group, a tight-knit group, as Nick Sirianni wanted to continue to shove in our face just about a week ago, which, to me, the more and more you have to say it, the more and more it's probably not true. And the way that they were making business decisions out there told me everything I need to know outside of Saquon. I mean, Saquon was lowering his shoulder trying to do everything. And that's another thing. This is no knock on Saquon at all. It's more of why I'm still so damn aggravated with this offense. And that's, it's nice that you have the ability to have breakaway speed and flip the field and 65, 70-yard run, whatever. You get it close to the end zone, right? But that doesn't actually fix the problems that are happening with this offense. So when Saquon puts the team on his back and does something remarkable like he did just about a week ago or so with Dallas Goedert as well, like Dallas, 10 receptions, 170 yards, that's no joke. He probably should have had 200 yards and a touchdown involved, but Jaylen missed him in the earlier sequence against New Orleans. And by the way, he missed Saquon Barkley on the first drive in this game too, where he's sneaking by the defense. No one's even close to him. And he throws a wobbly duck 15 yards out of bounds towards the right end of the sidelines. You cannot miss that play. The problem is all the plays that he can't miss, he misses. But back to the Saquon point. That's what special players do, and I get that. But when I look at the full body of work of this offense, when they struggle, when they go 3 and out, when they can't pick up a first down, when they can't even decide to hand the rock off, and you're trying to look for Cal Quintera and Paris Campbell and all these other guys, when he has that breakaway hit, it's fantastic. But it just masks the fundamental problems with sometimes moving the damn ball with this offense, even though they were shorthanded. You got to muster up something more than constant 3 and outs. You traded for Dotson, who you gave up a 3rd-round pick for. You're telling me he can't even do anything in a game where you're down multiple starters? He can't do something Brandon Covey can do? Don't you dare tell me Brandon Covey could be more of a reliable set of hands than Dotson. I can't buy that. I can't buy the fact that our best pass rusher is 36 years old. But he is. Nolan Smith can't rush the passer. Getting blown up all over the field. Bryce Huff's in the dirt nonstop. What a swing and a miss by Howie Roseman. They don't have good linebackers. Avonte Maddox isn't good. They don't have a pass rush. It's not good. It's not good. What was the ending, too, by the way? When there was about 4 or 5 minutes to go, I swear. Here's Hurts in the pocket. The offensive line ends up allowing another sack. What are we doing? We're down 1 billion points. There's a couple minutes to go. This has a 0% success rate. It just looks awful. It looks pathetic. Play after play after play. It's the same thing. Hurts in the pocket, looking around, gets demolished, gets insanely pressured. Here comes pressure. Nothing to do, nothing. No answers. You got nothing you can do with it. You get sacked or you almost throw an interception. Like, what are we? Do we look like incompetent pieces of trash? And this was supposed to be a top-tier offense. Oh, and I'm wrong for not loving the way that this team was set up with their coaching staff. Okay. Yeah, how dare I? How dare I ask questions about Nick Sirianni? So taking a look here at Nick Sirianni post-game, he says, I didn't have the guys ready to start. Well, no shit. Why? It's the National Football League. Why? Oh, man. He then goes on to continue about looking at not just the scheme, but taking a look at how we can help players fundamentally. You're thinking about that now? We are -6 when it comes to the turnover battle. Nick says, we will reevaluate that. I haven't done a good enough job with that. That is not sustainable when you lose the turnover battle. Well, you can say we got to clean it up all you want. I heard Carson Wentz forever say, I got to do a better job. I got to do a better job. I got to do a better job. Here's the issue. he never did a better job. He never did a better job. And I don't have any sort of gut feel that Nick Sirianni somehow is going to pull it out of his ass and have this team stepping in the right direction with conviction. They're going to win regular season games. They're not going to win they're not going to be a 3-win football team. The goal this year, though, was to have such a powerful offense. You can compete in the NFC and hopefully have a chance to play deep, deep, deep into the playoffs. So if they win 8 games, if they win 9 games, if they go 9-8 and they end up being a scrappy team by the end of it, best case scenario, which I don't see happening. But if they do, unacceptable. So what is this team? If that's their ceiling, best case scenario, they're a failure. And I had a feeling this was coming because when you set up the team, you're sick and tired of hearing it. And I'm sick and tired of saying it. When you set up a team where the head coach has to command the room and command 53 men with a powerful presence and a voice, but then you openly admit that you were thinking about not even bringing him back. And by the way, he's not allowed to do 90% of the job anymore. You're setting it up to be a failure. So the layers to this dysfunction go all the way to the top. And then how he deserves blame for the personnel. Defensively. I just got off my Bleacher Report stream that I do when the clock hits 0. And there was a lot of discussion in the chat about how poor these defensive schemes are, whether it's Jonathan Gannon or any other disciple from Vic Fangio. And while it's not my favorite defense in the world, and they did get carved up with quick throws, so there wasn't a lot of time specifically early to get to Baker Mayfield, and his completion percentage was through the roof, and someone like that should not be able to be that effective, right? All of that is real. I'm underwhelmed by Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff, Nakobe Dean, Avonte Maddox. Reed Blankenship is whatever. I know people like him because he has a couple of interceptions and he's got swag, I guess, but he's whatever. He's okay. I won't put him under underwhelmed category. He's whatever. I don't think he's a starter in the NFL on a good team. I think he's more of maybe your third safety that gets some time and some snaps. But anyway, I digress. Maybe I'm being too harsh. The defensive woes and the money and the draft picks that you put into that defense, that's a bigger problem than Vic Fangio. I don't think if you changed up scheme that you can pull significantly more out of this team. Can you put them in better positions? Probably. If you did maximize their skill set due to structure and scheme, you're still getting obliterated because you can't get home. You cannot get home. And they're missing linemen. Brandon Graham, he makes the biggest impact play. And then when you do get a 3rd and 14, Avonte Maddox has a hold. And don't get me started with that scenario. Because if you remember, Josh Sweat gets a sack. And I don't know how Baker Mayfield kept the ball in his hands because it looked as if Josh Sweat was ready to yank it out. And something that may not get talked about, but it irritates me. You're getting out-muscled by Baker Mayfield? Do you want it or do you not want it? You clearly don't want it enough. If you're letting Baker Mayfield out-muscle you, then you have the situation where three guys, this was on the play that Avonte Maddox had the flag and the holding call on him. But on the 3rd and 14, there were maybe 2 or 3 guys who could have gotten to Baker Mayfield in the backfield, and he somehow slips away and escapes to his left? In what world can you not bring him down? So even when they are technically getting within range, they still can't even produce. So Josh Sweat is 6'5", and Baker Mayfield is 6 foot. Just saying. And when the Eagles did, to stay with this narrative for a second here, when the Eagles did do something good, meaning 3rd and 7, 3rd and 11, you're forcing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be in 3rd and long situations instead of what you were doing in the beginning of the game, which was first down, touchdown. First down, touchdown. First down, touchdown. First down, touchdown. It's a joke. It's a joke. When they were in 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, conversion with Baker Mayfield and his legs. 3rd and 11, conversion, Baker Mayfield with a nice throw to his right. Couldn't get a stop. You were down 24-0, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, 24-0. That's how they started this game. 24-0. And 0 yards offensively throughout a quarter. There are systemic problems with the Philadelphia Eagles. This is not a one-off. Go back and look at the last 13 games of Philadelphia Eagles football under this regime and head coach. Nick Sirianni defines losing football for this team. Doesn't matter what happened prior to the fracture and the foundation breaking. It matters about once the foundation broke. There was a lack of trust and a lack of belief when everything happened. So everything that happened before, irrelevant. Because the team and the players and the knowledge of seeing what happened under his watch, it wasn't consumed yet. Now it's consumed. Your opinion changes on people when you have more information on who they are as a coach and in their expertise. Okay, hear me out. Al Michaels. Al Michaels, one of the greatest play-by-play voices in the history of sports, right? Not anymore. It doesn't matter what Al Michaels was like when he was watching Team USA play the Russians in the Olympics. It matters about who Al Michaels is on Thursday Night Football on Amazon when it sounds as if he doesn't even care that he's watching the game. The now. The past doesn't matter. The now. With Nick, past doesn't matter. The now. And 2022 sticks out like a sore thumb. I won't rip them with the 9-8 record to start their campaign together, because I do think being a rookie head coach and the quarterback getting the nod after the Carson Wentz drama, going 9-8, having a road playoff game, losing, it's a sign of the right direction, though. It's like, hear me out. If the Carolina Panthers in 2 years, it's probably a little long, and Bryce Young and Andy Dalton, it's a mess, but whatever. Just hear me out for a second. If Bryce Huff started his first year in the NFL, and he sat on the bench. Second year, he gets to start. Okay? So maybe let's go Jordan Love. Let's go scratch that. Let's go Jordan Love. He sits behind Aaron Rodgers for a year or whatever. He gets a nod, and then he gets to start. In the first year, him and Matt LaFleur go 9-8 and lose a road playoff game. All circumstances provided here, that's not a bad start to the duo. I won't rip 9-8 as a bad start for the duo, knowing the circumstances. But that 2022, I don't think Jaylen ever gets back to that. Nick wasn't doing as much with the offense because he had to give up the duties because it was so bad prior anyway. Nick's not it. Nick isn't it, is the summary of that point. All right, let's take some Anytime Hotline call, shall we? Let's hear from, I'm sure, the very aggravated people of Philadelphia.
Hey, bros. Dave. Been a while. I don't know what I just watched from the Eagles, but I do know one thing, and that is that you can blame whatever you'd like on injuries, and I might accept that, but there's levels to it, and no amount of injuries can really amount to how poorly the people on the field played today, and it was tough to watch. And Jaylen dropped back almost instant pressure, and when he didn't, it was he had some bright spots, but not really. A couple of risky throws. Defense looked pretty gassed, and you can blame it on the heat. You can blame a lot of things on a lot of things. It's just you can't keep giving this team excuses. This is just pathetic. I don't know.
No, I like the way that you ended it. I like the fact that you cannot make excuses. You can't say, well, this happened, that happened, the only reason why, blah, blah, blah. No. The team has a problem. And if you make any sort of excuses, you're lying. Where I'll disagree with you is Jaylen Hurts had bright spots. I thought Jaylen Hurts played a horrific game of football today. I thought he played a terrible game of football. He was not good. Not good. And I don't want to pretend like all they need to do is get back some wide receivers and then the team is fixed. Maybe the offense doesn't go 3 and out as consistently. There's a lot of teams that have talented wide receivers that don't necessarily go the distance, go far, and something limits them. I'm not talking personality based, none of that. I'm not targeting one person in particular. That's not what I'm saying. I'm looking at it more from, can the Eagles be who we think they can be or who they should be? And I don't know if just adding your wide receivers back automatically fix the morale. This is an energy thing. There's a lack of belief. There's a lack of togetherness. I'll go back to something I stated earlier this show. When Nick Sirianni had to express how gritty of a win it was against New Orleans and how much that made this team close, they're not close. You putting an emphasis on their closeness and how much this pushes them together is almost, in my eyes, desperation. You're trying to will it into existence. It reminds me of a family member I had in my family who dated somebody who's no longer in the picture. And every single time he came over, he was obnoxious as hell about how good the food is. And I'm thinking, dude, the more and more you talk about how good the food is, I'm just not believing it anymore. You probably don't like the food as much as you think. Oh, my God, this is great. Oh, my God, this is incredible. Wow, you make great pasta sauce. Wow, this cheesecake is great. Is it homemade? Shut up. Well, Nick trying to tell me about certain details with this team. Shut up. I watch the game every week. I see it with my own eyes. They are not as tight-knit as you think they are. Because if they were, they'd fight for one another out there more. The only sort of inspiration I think this team has is watching Saquon work his ass off. Other than that, they're not together. They're not together. It's a damn shame.
Looks like the team came out ready for a bye week already. That effort was absolutely pathetic. I'm at a loss for words. You know what? I gave Vic his flowers last week, even though I don't agree with everything he does. But today, they came out so flat and not ready to fucking play. It was absolutely pathetic. You know that you have an offense that's depleted. You got to have your defense coming out firing and be more aggressive right out of the gate. But nope. Same old bend, but don't break. But today it was nothing but bending and breaking bullshit. Offense awful, losing the turnover battle again. And then, like I've said before, through 4 games, Bryce Huff now has a solo tackle and an assisted tackle. No quarterback hurry, no quarterback hits, no sacks. But this was the guy who was supposed to replace Hassan Reddick. That's the biggest fucking joke I've ever seen in my life. This is the whole team effort. Plenty of blame to go around. This is just dreadful. Bye week is here. There's nothing to look positive on this team. They're not going to win games like this.
No, they're definitely not. And there's a few things I definitely want to touch on that you mentioned. I do like your mentality of your understanding of where this offense is this week, right? So you're telling me that's what you dialed up? Your defense, that is, like just the lack of intensity, the lack of snarl, just everything in general, the lackadaisical approach. And I'm not talking about the scheme of Vic Fangio. I'm just talking about the attitude with the lack of urgency of playing the game. How could you be so lackadaisical knowing you got to bring it and be a reason why you win the game? You got to duplicate last week's success. And one of my biggest concerns heading into this week for the defense was there was a clear emphasis on trying to stop Alvin Kamara, and you can't let him and that Saints offense get rolling because they can work so much off of that. And that's what you needed to stop. Well, Alvin Kamara is not on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think they almost took their foot off the gas with that edge. I'm sure all week long in the practice facility and all that, when they're watching film, it was Alvin Kamara cannot beat you. Alvin Kamara will not beat you. We may get toasted by someone else, but it will not be Kamara. They did not have that attitude for this week, and it clearly showed. So I'm with you there. And I'm not letting Vic Fangio off the hook by any means, but anytime I see the defense this putrid, I truly, truly believe it's more personnel than anything else. Because you didn't even mention Nolan Smith, did you? I don't know if you did or not. It's a first-round draft pick. Jordan Davis, first-round draft pick. Jalen Carter didn't wreck the game the way he wrecked the game last week. I need him to wreck the game. Wreck the game. And not 4 times a year. Not 6 times a year. 14 times a year. If not 16 times a year. So the inconsistency out of Jalen Carter is a concern right now, even though I think it's easy to be sold optimism on his overall natural progress and his skill, I guess. Maybe not progress. We need more from his progress, but from his skill level. Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, they're not good. They're not good. But I guess because of the quick throws and the ability to get the ball out super quick and pitch and catch and, attack the edges, well, maybe he could have done something better with the scheme for sure. So it's not as if Vic Fangio doesn't deserve blame. He definitely does. Everybody does. Personnel on the defense, though, is something that is serious. Serious. Let's take one more here.
Man, bro. I mean, when we win, it's ugly. But when we lose, it's even more ugly because this team looked pathetic today. Pretty much the whole game. I didn't see anything I liked. At this point, I wouldn't even be surprised. I mean, I don't think this is even a hot take anymore, but I don't even know if Nick Sirianni is going to be the head coach by the end of the season because he has no control of this offense at all. They can't score in the first quarter. They come out slow as hell every game. The defense is in the shitter too, though, because I don't know if I've ever seen so many missed tackles. These guys really just need to go back to practice and work on their form because every single play, I feel like they're just bouncing off of each other. And, just horrible show, pathetic game all around, and I am pissed.
I think it's because they can't tackle. Seriously. I just don't think they can tackle. The fundamentals weren't what they needed to be. We need to make some changes with what we are doing fundamentally. We had some missed tackles and drops in the beginning. We didn't coach well enough, and it starts with me. So it's week 5, right, with the bye week. Next week, right? So we'll be heading into week 6, reevaluating the fundamentals. Yeah, no, this is great. This is all great. I love the way you started the call off, though. You're so right. What do they do that's pretty? What do they do that's pretty? They lose ugly, really ugly, and they win ugly as hell. So when is it ever appealing? When is it ever something that I can appreciate? When will I get something that satisfies me in the football world? Because it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. Love you guys to death. This team.